All right, hey there. Welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. All right, this was a really strong year for the Criterion Collection, especially in 4K, and narrowing this down to a top 10 was not easy at all. So instead of just rattling off a list, I'm going to walk you through how I arrived at it. I'll start by revealing four titles that were absolute locks from number 7 down to number 4. And then I'll talk through 6 editions that were competing for the final 3 spots in my top 10, from number 10 down to number 8. And I'll explain why the ones made it and why the ones that didn't quite make the cut, why they didn't make it. And then we'll wrap it up and finish things out with the top 3 Criterion releases of 2025. So on the other side of this, we're going to get into it. And I definitely want to hear in the comment section below what titles from the Criterion Collection made your top 5 or your top 10 of the year. So I'm going to share my top 10 on the other side of this. Let's do this. All right, so I'm going to share my top 10 Criterion Collection releases of the year 2025. And I tell you what, this has been an amazing year from the Criterion Collection. Following up from another amazing year in 2024, the last several years from Criterion have just delivered year after year, and 2025 is no exception. So I'm going to start off with 4 titles that are definite inclusions in my list. These are 4 locks from number 7 down to number 4. And I'm going to start off with number 7. And this is a title that was the directorial debut and the only directorial credit for Richard Pryor. And that is JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling on 4K Ultra HD. This is, in my opinion, one of Criterion's most meaningful releases of the year. This had Richard Pryor finally framed as an artist in this film, not just a comedian. And it was personal, raw, and long overdue. When this title was announced in late 2024 that it was coming to the Criterion Collection, I believe it came out in January, was so excited. And to see how wonderful this film looks in the 4K format, I couldn't have been pleased more. And I knew then, as soon as I saw this release, that this one had a great chance of being in my top 10. And here it is at number 7, JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. All right, down to number 6 is a title from director David Cronenberg. And this is also on the 4K Ultra HD format, as is really almost all the titles in my top 10. But this is a film that stars Viggo Mortensen and Maria Bella and Ed Harris. And it was a first-time watch for me, and I really enjoyed A History of Violence on 4K Ultra HD. This one is lean, unsettling, and deceptively simple in terms of the story of this man played by Viggo Mortensen, who had a past life and trying to lead a quieter life in the present, but his past catches up with him. The 4K deepens the film's moral ambiguity. Just an absolutely beautiful transfer. And this is one of David Cronenberg's most accessible masterpieces, in my opinion. Just an absolutely fantastic film. Great first-time watch for me. I really enjoyed A History of Violence on 4K Ultra HD. All right, down to number 5, and this is an amazing title in the Criterion Collection. This is a title that I would look in the Criterion catalog and I would see this film listed year after year, and I never thought to pick it up, didn't really know much about it. But when it was announced for 4K, I got really excited and was really, really happy to check it out. Of course, some very sad news regarding the director of this film. This is Spinal Tap on 4K Ultra HD, and definitely RIP to Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner. Just horrible, horrible news coming out of California. Just so sorry to hear what happened there. Just an absolute tragedy. But this title is definitely a must inclusion on this top 10 list at number 5. This was a comedy landmark. An amazing entry for this director who started out in acting, knew him as Meathead on All in the Family, and then he got into directing and making films. This is Spinal Tap was one of his early films, and just an absolute fantastic, early piece of output from director Rob Reiner. It's endlessly rewatchable and quotable. And I really believe that Criterion treats it with the same seriousness as high drama, and it works. It definitely works all the way around. I mean, the 4K transfer is fantastic. It looks great on the 4K format, and it's a wonderful addition in the Criterion Collection, this upgrade to the 4K format for This Is Spinal Tap. But again, just horrible news, and certainly, wish the best for his family in light of recent events. All right, moving on to number 4 on my top 10 list. And this is an example of outstanding film noir. I love discovering new noir films, and this is no exception. This film stars Glenn Ford and Gloria Graham and Lee Marvin in an absolute knockout noir film. It's called The Big Heat on 4K Ultra HD. This is one of the fiercest noir films ever made. Glenn Ford is amazing. Gloria Graham is fantastic, and Lee Marvin is diabolical and absolutely electric on screen. This is Glenn Ford at his most conflicted. You see a full range of his character in this film, and the black and white photography looks absolutely stunning on the 4K format. So I was super happy with the visuals, with the special features, and this is definitely one of the best additions of the year from the Criterion Collection, and why it occupies number 4 on my top 10 list. That's The Big Heat on 4K Ultra HD from the Criterion Collection. All right, now before we get to the top 3 and finalize this list, I do want to slow things down just a little bit, because spots 8 through 10 were the hardest calls I had to make. These were the hardest calls because I was looking at 6 great additions from the Criterion Collection and considering those 6 additions for these last 3 spots of 10, 9, and 8. And these were hard decisions, and the contenders were as follows: Night Moves on 4K Ultra HD, Killer of Sheep on 4K Ultra HD, Nightmare Alley on 4K, Prince of Broadway on Blu-ray, Hell's Angels on 4K, and A Woman of Paris on Blu-ray. Those were the 6 editions that I considered my contenders for those last 3 spots. And of course, the other 3 would not make the cut. So let me give you a quick rundown of the ones that did not make the cut, starting with Hell's Angels. Monumental restoration. The film history was amazing on this release. I really enjoyed, hearing about the film history of Howard Hughes making this film and learning more about Jean Harlow. Absolutely wonderful, and I really admire this edition. This one came very close, but it falls just outside the top 10. All right, the next one falling off the top 10 is Sean Baker's Prince of Broadway. Now, this is an important modern indie film. It's a great addition to Criterion's contemporary slate, but this one just didn't quite make my top 10 cut because it's a little bit less shelf defining this year, if I'm saying that correctly. It just barely fell outside my top 10, but it's an outstanding addition, and I really enjoyed it, and the special features are fantastic. It's just up against stiff competition. All right, 4 titles for 3 slots, and the one title that is not going to make my top 10 is Nightmare Alley on 4K Ultra HD, Guillermo del Toro's film, which is a remake of Nightmare Alley from the 1940s. This is an absolutely gorgeous 4K. There's an inclusion of the black and white version of this film, which Guillermo del Toro favors, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Classic noir atmosphere. Really enjoyed the performances of Bradley Cooper and this amazing cast. But the bottom line is this film was just edged out by stronger noir representation. And it just narrowly misses the cut, but it is otherwise an outstanding addition. And in other years, it might very well have made my top 10 cut. But unfortunately for 2025, Nightmare Alley falls just outside of the top 10. So, with those three worthy contenders being gently eliminated from the competition, that left me with three films that I felt were essential in very different ways. So now I'm going to reveal my number 10 to number 8. Starting with number 10 is Killer of Sheep on 4K Ultra HD. Now, this is one of the most important American independent films ever made. It is a statement release from Criterion all the way around. I was first introduced to this title from Robert Bellissimo at the movies. I did an episode on his channel talking about this film, and I never imagined that Criterion would release this on 4K. And this 4K release gave me a brand new appreciation for this film on so many levels, especially going through the special features. I had to include this in my top 10. It's not a comfort watch at all, but it is an essential one. And again, it is an absolute milestone of American independent filmmaking. Killer of Sheep on 4K comes in at number 10 on my list. All right, number 9 on my list is a title from one of my favorite directors, Charles Chaplin or Charlie Chaplin, and it's A Woman of Paris on Blu-ray. This is a situation where Charlie Chaplin stepped from in front of the camera to behind the camera, and he allowed Edna Purviance to operate the leading role in this film. What an amazing film, and I really enjoyed this silent film. It is emotionally restrained and surprisingly modern for a film from the late 1920s. And I really believe that Criterion did a beautiful job of the restoration and just reframed its legacy beautifully with this amazing release with some nice special features. And I just really appreciate a good silent classic. And A Woman of Paris from Charlie Chaplin definitely fits that bill and comes in at number 9 on my list. All right, number 8 on my list is a film that stars Gene Hackman. And look, anything that Gene Hackman is in, I'm all for it because he absolutely turns in a fantastic performance in every film I've seen him in. And Night Moves on 4K Ultra HD is no exception. This is disillusioned 1970s noir at its best. You have Gene Hackman in peak form as private investigator Harry Mosby. And it's a slow burn of a film that rewards repeat viewing. This is an absolutely fantastic noir film that I enjoyed earlier in this year from the 1970s, and it's just a fantastic film. Don't get confused. Do not expect to hear the Bob Seger song Night Moves in this movie. They're two separate entities, but definitely enjoy the film. It's an amazing film, but Bob Seger's song does not appear in this film. But it's an absolutely amazing release from Criterion on 4K Ultra HD, and I really enjoyed Night Moves. So definitely check that out. It is number 8 on my top 10 list. All right, number 10, Killer of Sheep on 4K Ultra HD. Number 9, A Woman of Paris on Blu-ray. Number 8, Night Moves on 4K Ultra HD. Number 7, JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling on 4K Ultra HD. Number 6, A History of Violence on 4K Ultra HD. Number 5, This is Spinal Tap on 4K Ultra HD. Number 4, The Big Heat on 4K Ultra HD. That brings us down to the top 3. And these 3 were never really in doubt. These are 3 editions that were absolutely going to be in my top 10 of the year. These were 3 editions that, quite frankly, had an assured spot in my top 5 all along. It was just a matter of what order they were going to appear in. And these are just 3 exceptional titles that I cannot say enough good things about. And I'm so happy to share these with you right now. Starting with number 3, I love a great Western. And when you talk about a great Western with Jimmy Stewart, hey, I am in every day of the week. And Winchester 73 on 4K Ultra HD fits the bill all the way around. This is Anthony Mann and James Stewart redefining the Western in this first of several collaborations that they would do together on Western films in the 1950s. This is an absolute landmark film, and I believe it's from 1950. But yeah, Winchester 73 on 4K Ultra HD. The restoration and the 4K picture is terrific. The story is fantastic. This was my first exposure to this story and this film, and I really enjoyed it. And I definitely want to check out more films from Anthony Mann with James Stewart in the future. But just absolute pure American cinema. Winchester 73 deserves a spot in every Western lover's collection, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is number 3 on my list and just one of the best additions from Criterion in 2025. So that's number 3, which brings us to the last 2 spots. And with these final 2 spots, I could easily interchange the 2. So 2 could become 1 and 1 could become 2. These are just 2 exceptional releases from the Criterion Collection for 2025, and they are absolutely at the top of my list. And the first one at number 2 is going to be a film that I had never seen from director Stanley Kubrick, and I was so excited to check out Eyes Wide Shut for the first time. This is one of Kubrick's most debated films. Of course, Kubrick is known for creating masterful films across multiple genres, and this was an absolutely fantastic film. The 4K picture to me looked absolutely amazing. Now, I know everybody doesn't necessarily agree with that, but I feel like this 4K represents a beautiful restoration and really does a nice job of preserving the intended look from the director and the cinematographer. So I really enjoyed seeing this film and just experiencing the story. For me, this was a very satisfying and thought-provoking first-time encounter with this film from Stanley Kubrick. Of course, this is his last film, and just the interpretations and the breakdown of this story from Stanley Kubrick is absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed Eyes Wide Shut, enjoyed the special features, enjoyed going on YouTube and looking at other people breaking down this film. Just an absolutely satisfying addition overall, and I was so happy to experience this film for the first time from one of the great directors of all time, Stanley Kubrick. Eyes Wide Shut comes in at number 2 on my top 10 list, which then brings us down to the last entry on this list. And this is, for me, the number 1 release of the year from the Criterion Collection. And it is an absolutely amazing film. And it is Sorcerer on 4K Ultra HD. This is, for me, the defining Criterion release of the year. The image, the sound, the supplements were all elite. Just an absolutely amazing film all the way around from director William Friedkin, and just some great features that featured Bill Friedkin and so many other aspects of the making of this film that I really enjoyed and appreciated. It really just gets into, some of the history around this film in terms of where this film fits into Bill Friedkin's career, coming off of The French Connection and then coming off of The Exorcist. So a lot of expectation going into this film, and he talks about some of the challenges he dealt with this film not performing up to the expectations and not being received of the way that it should have been received at the time. But of course, in more recent years, this film has gained more recognition and acclaim. Just an absolutely phenomenal film. You have Roy Scheider in this film. This is based on the same story as the Henri Georges Clouzot film from the 1950s, The Wages of Fear, is based on. And Sorcerer on 4K Ultra HD, this 1970s film from Bill Friedkin, easily made my top 5 of the year and landed at number 1 for my top 10 Criterion Collection releases of the year, Sorcerer on 4K Ultra HD. This is a reminder of why physical media matters. So there you have it. That's my top 10 Criterion Collection releases of 2025. I'm curious, what titles made your list and what would you have left out? Let me know that in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about my inclusion. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. Hope that you have a great new year ahead. Thanks for watching this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. God bless. Peace.